afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host, Imperial Dane, featuring a 1 vs 1 on Sturzdorf. Yes, indeed, Sturzdorf. Not really getting a lot of games again, and I'm definitely not getting a lot of 2 vs 2s that are even remotely interesting. So again, for those wanting 2 vs 2s, my apologies, there's not much to do. Meanwhile, we should be watching BasiloneReborn of the Clan Reborn versus Xmetal, fighting for the United States, fighting for the 2nd Infantry Division, in a fight against the 21st Panzer Division, held up somewhere in the Lorraine-Alsace region. 2 pioneers up by the looks of it from Basilone, whereas we do see Xmetal starting out with a free engineer start, I think. Yes, indeed, and barracks, so more aggressive movements right there from Xmetal, hoping to seize a bit more terrain within the first few minutes of the fight. And we also see here Basilone spreading out for a right-hand hook. He's ignoring the left side for the time being, at least that is what it looks like. Munitions there being secured, barracks up, moving up there. And so far, so good. So quiet. Nothing otherwise standing out besides, again, the 3 engineers start from Xmetal. And he's also, note here, focusing very heavily on the right, but he's also sneaking in some engineers towards the left. And we do see Basilone standing out with a squad of my apologies, some Volksgrenadiers, not some Volksschnees, but Volksgrenadiers. Pioneers moving up to support now. So Basilone's now spreading out a bit, want to secure the munitions first. Interesting. The Kampfgruppe advances. And there we go, the engineers commander fire. Rifle now on the way though from Xmetal, while the engineers continue to take shots from the Deutsche Infantry, hold up here by a few trees. Some sort of pine, I suspect.
Losing ground out there.
And there we go. Oh, slight dodging about, a bit of weaving, and looks like he might be able to now overcome Basilone's troops up close if he so desires. No, he decides to lay down a medic station. That's awfully peculiar right there from Xmetal. Not really what I would recommend in the current situation, never mind that its position is a bit of a rubbish one. So awfully curious play right there from Xmetal. Rifleman down. We do see medics rushing forward, but they're rushing a bit too forward, and we do see Basilone rather nicely targeting them down. Be unfortunate there. Volksgrenadiers continue up the advance. Another medic goes down in a hailstorm of German bullets. And now the medic station is going to be the next target, and again, I rather feel this was poorly executed by Xmetal. I imagine he had some sort of attrition strategy going on and sort of wanted to be aggressive with it, but again, he really didn't have the riflemen to protect it. It was way too early. I mean, otherwise, I'm not against, medic stations for the Americans, but all about positioning, and this one was pretty much daft. We do see some larger skirmishing going on here on the right-hand side. Bit of fighting for the fuel. Basilone's pioneers making a run for the barrel factory. And there we go, the medic station is down. Bit of a waste right there for Xmetal. A waste of good manpower. Definitely a shame. We also see a second rifle score. And flamethrowers burn out the barrel factory occupants. Thankfully, it was a free day for the workers, and none of those were caught on fire, producing valuable barrels for the Wehrmacht war effort. Points are being secured. Bit of sneaking about there. And we do see an MG40 up from Basilone. He's actually using his Volksgrenadiers quite nicely how they're supposed to be used, that is in groups. Thus they create a better sort of force, since you also get a few more of those, better squad leader weapons. So in that sense, they do tend to work a bit better in numbers. Can much more easily focus something down and sort of grow a bit more in strength. Flamethrower engineers setting up position there, going to force Basilone away from getting too close, riflemen pushing in as well. We do see a 3rd squad of Volksgrenadiers going in, so Basilone fighting pretty hard with the infantry. Definitely nothing wrong in that. Good mining over there as well, going to cover up the flank a bit. One Volksgrenadier squad. Oh, we could see a squad going down for Xmetal. That would be, bloody awful. Besides the loss of that medic stations earlier, but no, looks like he pulls a Forrest Gump. and succeeds in eluding the grasp of the German infantry.
Observation posts report
We are seeing more and more infantry. We do see the MG forces here, nicely positioned to cover this entire area, although the flanks are a bit exposed. This one is a bit mined up, but even then, some decent moving about could negate that. Basilone continuing to push for the right side. We already see a supplier up for Xmetal, so 3 engineers, 3 rifle squads, and then apparently an armoured car rush. That's definitely going to be rather interesting, and so far Basilone looks a bit unprepared. It is in fact going for a 3 Volkswagen 2 MG start, one of the more aggressive Wehrmacht starts, one of the more dense, also one of the more, in some ways, tactically and strategic flexible, if you know how to handle it. So very nice to see that from Basilone. Points there being secured. Engineers inside pouring fire down upon Basilone's Volksgrenadiers. So far they're not succeeding actually catching any of the krauts on fire. And already there, Xmetal is actually pretty quick to get up another magazine. So again, he's very intent on having one, which also means, of course, he's got a clear goal. I bloody well hope so. And this one is also much better placed. Overall, that's also very nice to see from him. Mine going off there, killing numerous Volksgrenadiers, leaving Heinz, Fritz, and Ernst dead or wounded in the street sides. And taking up position there, and we immediately see that another flamethrower is ready from Xmetal. So 2 flamethrowers. We are going to see the MG crew. There we go. Basilone orders them out. Raus! Raus! No Rückzug! And we are seeing the engineers rushing, and they're going to set off the mine. But oh, that was bloody close. Also taking up Basilone's MG crew. That was awfully bleeding close. But he managed, meanwhile, the Volksgrenadiers continue to push on in the name of the Wehrmacht, except the one, of course, that's hit the mine. They are rather pushing back. And we're seeing a Kampfkraft sent up now. He's very much setting himself up in the case that Xmetal, who very much could now go for a motor pool and then an armoured car, Basilone would be very much vulnerable. He's very much more worried about, you know, the heavy infantry and hoping to gain an advantage that way, but there's also currently the slight risk that, again, that an armoured car rush could really catch him off guard and do some serious damage. Again, that's the sort of thing you have to be careful when you go for 3 Volkswagen 2 MGs. You should definitely not be setting up, I think, for veterans right away. But we do see a Kriegwerks going up. Volkswagen's pulling back here. Good solid fighting. Veterans going up for the Deutsche Infanterie. Riflemen versus Volksgrenadiers there. And there we go. We do see the motor pull up, although this time he is able to get the Kriegwerks up. But still, Xmetal will have the slight advantage. He might be able to get the most out of the armoured car initially if he pushes aggressively and decisively enough. But we do see Basilone acting in 2 groups. We do have the smaller group, we shall refer to that as Group 2, fighting in the west, whereas the larger group, which we should call the Assault Group, is moving up the right side. Well, probably I should not call that Group 2, but it's Defense Group. I don't know. Small group. Either way, 2 groups, but the slight problem is, as you might be noticing, they're operating on each their own side of the map, which is rather leaving the center very much vulnerable, and also leaving defensive group also much more vulnerable to getting flanked. Of course, the question is, will Xmetal spot this sort of division in Basilone's troops, and will he be able to quickly then, of course, seize the chance and quickly overwhelm the smaller of the 2 groups? That is rather the most, well, pressing question. But in the meanwhile, Assault Group here is doing alright, but not so much assaulting. MB, I think, could move out a bit further. Medics pulling back the wounded. And there we go. Looks like Xmetal is pushing harder, partly spotting things from with the engineers in the house. Basilone being pushed slowly further back. Volkswagen taking up position to cover the flank of the MG42. Pioneers getting pushed and hunted down. And there we go. Xmetal scores a kill. Rifleman getting shot down there. And there we go. The Greyhound is ready. Armoured skirts up. 50 caliber on the way. At the same time, we do see the pack. But the question is, there's so much to cover. And here's another problem in Basilone's division. One of his 2 forces will be rendered vulnerable to armoured cars because the pack simply can't cover it all. And right there, we do see Xmetal going in after the assault group of Basilone. Of course, there will be Panzerfausts, but unlike in Coming Hughes 2, they won't be able to really, you know, deliver some really bad issues to the armor cars. So in that sense, there's not so much a penalty as being a bit too overly confident with their light vehicles as there is in Company Heroes 1 or 2. But of course, second Panzerfaust does the job. In this case, we do see Xmetal perhaps having been a bit too aggressive, a bit too cocky, having pushed his luck a bit too far, and we do see Basilone basically charging ahead, intent on punishing the Yankee bastard, and he succeeds. So a 3rd Panzerfaust knocks it out of commission. At the same time, Engineer Squad went down in a blaze of glory. In fact, that was a flamethrower engineer, so that was definitely a blaze. But another push, and we do see Basilone's soap complement is in fact completely pushed away, which is a bit unfortunate for him, as that very much leaves now in fact the entire right hand side open for Xmetal to advance. And if Xmetal was a bit clever, he'd also immediately proceed to actually mine this area here, so when Basilone tries to counterattack, he's going to run into mines. And then we go Basilone actually immediately realizing this is going to possibly be a new avenue of attack from Xmetal, so he immediately sets about mining. Good job there from Basilone in seizing upon the opportunity to prepare. But he is immediately losing access, or will soon be losing access to the right hand side, including his high munitions. Definitely not looking good for the 21st Panzer Division. Grenadier squad's on the way, so Basilone pushing further on the infantry agenda. No doctrine as of yet. I mean, overall, all three doctrines would rather work well with this sort of heavy infantry-heavy approach. It rather depends on how he wants to do it. Full-on aggressive would have been blitzkrieg. Full-on defensive, of course, defensive doctrine for the fun there. But of course, you could also, take a more aggressive, but at the same time, slightly different one, where he's sort of trying to just soak up damage with terror and seal, so that way, get some more troops, just doing a lot of damage. It can also be all-out aggressive, but the different kind of all-out aggressive, the one where you also take more casualties and want to sort of perhaps synergize with a medic bank, but so far none of those with Basilone. Either way, I think he needs to get a doctrine now to really get the most out of his infantry again. Either blitzkrieg grenade, either for the fatherland, or seal, and perhaps even inspired assault. That way, Basilone could really push the infantry advantage he will be having over Xmetal. We do see the armor car pushing up here. Observing. Oh, and he spots the pioneers instead, spotting them as an easier target, and immediately sets about wiping them out. And meanwhile, we do see Basilone counterattacking with a few grenadiers and the MG42 in the west, but we do see that Xmetal is able to cut off a lot of resources there from Basilone. His assault on the right hand side again, running into Propman, and we do again spot the issue here. Again, the pack is forced going to be, running back and forth between 2 points, which is not really to the advantage of him. And again, rather gives the armored car the overall initiative and advantage. An anti-tank gun should be more prepared, where you sort of don't, want to have to rush to the most important point. And then you either get more, or, you just realize, okay, I can't hold against armor cars in that department.
You're losing a sector.
Robin here getting suppressed in the middle, and pinned, in fact. Not good for Xmetal, and his medic station almost ready to have a full squad reformed. Another squad pinned down. He might be a bit overwhelmed by all that's going on. No supplied upgrades. And we see a Ranger squad out from Xmetal. Rangers to lead the way. And meanwhile, nice flanking here on suppressed troops from Basilone. Although finally Xmetal gets the drift and retreats his men. 2 entire squads. That could definitely gone very nasty if the full scores had been continued to allow to use the riflemen pinned down to the ground as target practice. And we do see the medics also end up serving acid. Look, Heinz. They have these neat little crosses to shoot after on their chest. Dummkopf, Heinz, we're not supposed to. Yes, nice. Oh, nice bit of flanking right here around the anti-tank gun. I didn't catch the full details. We might also see the MG gone. Pack just needs to turn. Armored car could go down if the pack crew is fast and furious enough, but not quite so. The question is, will Xmetal also consider upgrading his Rangers with the Thompson submachine gun, really getting a nasty assault force out of this? In the meanwhile, we also see the Sturm Armory going up for BasiloneReborn, so clearly something a bit more wheeled or mechanized, armored perhaps even, to take on the evil Yankees and destroy them in the name of the fatherland. Without remorse, without pity, without receipts. Oh, mine going off there again. Basilone having a nice flank coverage here through the mine. Whoops, mine's a bit too high up there. Rangers still do nothing. I suppose Xmetal is actually keeping them as a reserve to, push in once the initial engagement's going off. And he's actually drawn out the MG. That, if that is the case, then that is very well done. Although we do see Basilone is quick to pull up a second MG. We see fire up going up. We are also seeing the Thompson submachine gun. Perhaps that was what I was waiting for. We do see them pushing ahead, but they're going to get caught right in front of the MG. The rifleman squad already suppressed and heavy on the losses, and he runs the other way, bravely charging off and away from enemy fire. In the meanwhile, Basilone continues his advance on the right-hand side. Pack might want to move a bit further. And there we go, the Volkswagen immediately command off from the Greyhound. It's 37mm gun and 50 caliber machine gun tearing into the Volksgrenadiers, threatening to end their lives. And there we go, we see an armoured car on the way for Barcelona. MG and everything else looking good. Pack finally moving up, the Pack 38. Definitely one of the small anti-tank against the Germans, and of course they had the Pack 40. They had the Pack 43, which pretty much used the exact same gun as that on the King Tiger and the Yak Panther. But they also had the Pack 44, which had the exact same gun as the one on the Yak Tiger. So I suppose what you want to do is pray to the heavens that is never added to the game. Rangers immediately finding themselves suppressed in the middle of the road. Not looking good there. Greyhound taking a few hits there from the anti-tank guns as Volksgrenadiers advance. And Pioneers getting overwhelmed. Nice full advance there, although the MD-42 could still put a stop to it. But at the same time, we see the armor coming in, and we see that Barcelona is actually upgrading it to the Puma. Fun. The Puma being, well, an upgraded variant of that armored car with a 50mm cannon, taken from a reconnaissance tank project that was scrapped. Although it's not the only vehicle the Germans had which actually saw this mounted turret mounted on it. There was also the Lux, which had one variant of it actually equipped with this gun as well. Rather interestingly enough. But yeah, that was meant to sort of give the armoured cars a bit more firepower on their own, whereas previously they much had to rely on support units. Which of course also meant that the reconnaissance force had to be much larger for the Germans. Rangers charging ahead, coming under fire likely from the Puma. The Puma needs to be careful. Volksgrenadiers nearby. At this stage, Barcelona might want to consider upgrading some of his infantry, either with MP40 or an LMG to help with these Rangers charging in. Rangers getting immediately suppressed there by the MG42. The Puma finds where they're so far not having much luck in hitting anything. Greyhound rolls in. And there we go, the Rangers fire up, getting into a bit of heavy combat again. Very low on everything and firing bazookas. Rifle following up. BAR's now up on Xmetal's troops. Second armor car running up for Barcelona. Throwing a bit more firepower. Another weapon down to that Puma. And a second Ranger squad out for Xmetal. He seems rather fond of his heavier infantry to support his infantry advances. At the same time, we see Barcelona laying down a mine right in front of it. Seems a bit overly confident. At the same time, Greyhound pushing through here, where everything else, including all the anti-tank assets, are occupied. In the right, the armoured car strikes in the west. Nicely done there by Xmetal, although it does get Panzerfaust a bit much. Definitely interesting move. Lots of troops going to need reinforcement though. And Rangers are finally forced away. Still no supplied upgrades for Xmetal. I would very much like to see those. Would definitely benefit Xmetal in the longer run, give his troops more retency, and of course also ensure he has more manpower in the longer run. And there we go, Puma's advanced forward, going after that medic station. And it's very close, in fact, to actually being able to get a full rifle squad for Xmetal. In fact, if that medic pulls in that poor wounded GI, he will, as soon as he's been patched up, in fact, even before that, be sent into combat again. In fact, that Ranger will suddenly find himself a bit demoted. We see another Ranger squad moving in, trying to desperately save their wounded comrades, and there we go, riflemen ready. A full squad for Xmetal. Interesting enough, there's no further veterancy at all for Barcelona. I mean, he might want to consider either, some veterancy for his MGs to make them much more lethal, or for his armoured cars, but so far all he's got is veterans, one on the infantry. Which probably could be utilised better. And he's also taking up now, going for the Panzer Command, and still no doctrine, by the way. Almost 20 minutes into the game, which also likely indicates he's going for the King Tiger, but at the same time, not getting the full usage of the doctrine otherwise. Artillery going in. Most of the artillery so far seems to be hitting. Absolutely nothing. 2 Grenadiers down. And that seems to have been it. Rangers having pushed forward, doing a bit of damage. I think Barcelona actually lost a squad of Volksgrenadiers, his first real infantry casualty, although we also see he's got 2 Grenadier squads. Another Grenadier squad on the way, so Barcelona also very much intent on keeping his squads at 5. And again, Rangers pushing forwards. Again, Veterans 1 here would definitely benefit Basilone. Another Ranger down. At the same time, again, the Greyhound pushes up. They're already 12 kills. It's definitely doing a lot of damage to the Germans. And this outpack has not been recruited. Leaving again the right side vulnerable. A few mistakes here being sort of slowly clamped on each other by, I think, Basilone. Probably not intentional, but definitely not good. We do see the Puma rolling in. And we might see the Greyhound actually get the other armored car even before the Puma's able to get it. And the Rangers rushing up to knock out the Puma. Oh dear, this is not good. And there we go, the MG went down to the Greyhound. And without the MG, the armored car... Oh dear, Puma down. Veteran G2 for the Greyhound. We are seeing Basilone charging forwards all of his infantry. He's also throwing a lot of munitions again. I think one MP40, one Panzergrenadier, perhaps an LMG would really benefit him. But it's a bit too late now. And a second armoured car went down right there for Basilone. The horrific casualties being inflicted there by Xmetal. It's good use of the Greyhound and the Rangers. Constantly shifting. And constantly doing a lot of damage right there to Basilone that way. And now we do see Basilone actually forced to recruit all of this to hold up. Medics continue to run in to pick up the wounded. Still no supply upgrade from Xmetal. And medic dead. The Grenadiers reporting he did not even return fire. But that's a bit hard when he isn't armed. Yeah, but that's a technical detail, you know. Armed or not, you know, he's wearing a uniform. Rifleman pushed away by the Grenadiers there. Full offensive here by Xmetal in the center. Lots of BARs. He might also consider getting some grenades. And again, a supply and upgrade really would benefit him. Basilone forced a bit back on the defensive. Pack now in a slightly better position, except it's pointing in the right way. Minor detail, I suppose. And the MG42 fires away, quickly suppressing several scouts riflemen. And we see a howitzer now up for Xmetal. Xmetal going for some artillery to fire down on the damn Krutz, while Basilone's actually wrecked his Sturm armory and is now setting up a Panzer Command in its stead. That's interesting. Normally I do not see that. Not entirely sure how to react to that besides that though. It's an interesting move though. Armored car, riflemen, actually some veterans before them finally. Sorry, ice cubes. A bit bloody hot here, so I need to keep a bit cool. And there you go, Rangers moving up to support the armored car again, full advance. Lots of Thompson submachine guns. Heavy but also effective submachine guns, although a bit expensive compared to, say, the German MP40, which was rather what everyone ended up trying to imitate with their own submachine guns. And there we go, we do see that the Rangers actually able to outflank Basilone's infantry force, which is definitely never a good sign, and is in fact forced to conduct a full retreat in the face. All of these Rangers, in particular, since Basilone again rather lacks a bit of automatics. We do see the MG going up, but again, it's too late. Too late, and right, they're immediately forced to run off, but can they actually succeed? Or will the Thompson submachine guns tear through the crew like a hot knife through butter? Or for that matter, a submachine gun through butter.
Front shifting. Krauts are grabbing territory from us.
And a bit of quiet again. Still no supply upgrades. Again, I would very much love to see that from Xmetal. Again, would benefit him greatly. And artillery firing straight into Basilone's base. Nice rate hit there on the Krieg barracks. Pack slowly creeping away. As the right hand side becomes increasingly American. I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis in 30 seconds. Still actually wipes out the Grenadier. And Basilone makes ready for another infantry assault up towards the right hand side. Rather than getting caught right in the middle of it. And there we go, we do see Jack going down. Rangers pushing up. And right through all of the Grenadiers, get straight for the Fultz Grenadiers. No grenades from Basilone. That might help a bit there. And we do see a few Rangers going down, but ultimately the hot losses inflicted upon the Germans are too high. And we do see an Ostwind flak panzer. Not what I would like to have seen. I would have actually preferred a Panzer IV. Again, it is a bit more durable. And also considering the Greyhound, it might have been a bit more effective. Plus, with enough veterancy, it also becomes a lot harder to deal with for infantry since it can gain armoured skirts. Rather than getting suppressed. Still no veterancy for Basilone's MG crew. Hopefully there will be something for the Panzer and mid-game analysis time. Hang on, and there we go. As you might be noticing, Basilone's rather pushed back. He had a nice solid early to mid game, but then things strategically slightly went awry. Again, he spread out his forces too far instead of trying to more solid front line, which also allowed the Greyhound to much more easily sneak in, do some damage, sneak out again. Pack and MG was a bit left to recruit, and after that, Xmetal was able to really do some serious damage, knock out several of Basilone's armored cars, and another thing again which is not helping him is the overall lack of veterancy for anything that is not infantry. Again, he had 2 MGs, veteran one for them, but also paid off quite handsomely. And now we do see the Austrian flag Panzer again. Not what I would like to see. A Panzer IV would have helped a bit more also offensively in attacking and taking back territory, which is what Basilone needs to do now. He needs to move up, take some territory, and again needs to decide where does he want to hold. I don't think he should try and hold alongside a broad front line right yet, since he can't do that. What instead should do is either focus like this for these 2 victory points, or this sort of area with these 2 victory points. He needs to decide what he wants and does not want to hold. He needs to make a decision, and then he needs to go in fully for that. He needs to get some Panzer IVs out. He needs to get some veterans for his Panzers and his support units, so his MGs become more effective, and his Panzers become a lot harder for the Rangers to knock out with the bazookas, because otherwise they will continue to have a nice and easy peasy time. For Xmetal, he needs to keep up the pressure, he needs to mine, he needs to make it harder for Basilone as possible to counterattack, and again, mines help with that. Barbed wire, tank traps, Greyhound mines for that matter, all works, but he needs to use it. And he might also want to consider an off-map combat group or 2. So, back to the fight, back to the struggle for the fatherland. Rather than getting pushed away, Rangers moving up on the right side, coming under intense fire from the Ostwind. The Ostwind also gets a medic. It's a nice turnaround on the right. And meanwhile, once more, the Greyhound strikes on the left. And interesting enough, Basilone hasn't even bothered upgrading his grenadiers. Not a single Panzerschreck, not a single LMG 42. And the overall lack of Panzerschreck is definitely a lot more interesting, considering the prevalence of the Greyhound. More artillery going in. This case, 3 filters goes down. Nice hit there on the building. Victory point falling. Veterans is who? Still, but might soon get veterans, in which case it's going to get really nasty. And we do see that Ostwind flak panzer being quickly directed back to the left-hand side. Going in after that armoured car. Gets off a nice hit. Several hits on the sides. And the Greyhound actually succeeds in also getting a penetrating shot on the Ostwind. Probably due to the fact it's with veterans 2 that actually gains a higher penetration. Basilone's front line though is very tenuous at the moment, not really fully held. Running into some slight issues left here and there since he doesn't quite have the full units to hold or support. And there we go, we actually do see that Xmetal was actually trying to mine. We do see a grenade right here, which doesn't actually set off the mine since it wasn't finished, but at the same time, though, it does kill the engineer standing right next to it. And looks like Xmetal is actually making a move for Basilone space. And there's a slight gap here, so in fact an American player can sneak in, and he does so. MG getting overwhelmed. Oh dear. Poor Basilone. And a second Ostwind. Interesting move, interesting move. Though I think I would prefer to get a Panzer IV or perhaps also some Knights Cross Holders, since they do a lot more against Rangers due to the fact they ignore the elite armor's damage reduction half. And the base continues to get bombarded with artillery off map now, though there might also be some on map. And there we go, Kampfkraft center down, a bit of a blow. Still no veterancy for the armor. And the Ostwind's not pushing in against the heavily wounded Rangers, partly because it apparently went down. He lost it. Where did he lose it? My best guess is going to be around here, since there's a huge wreck. Again, be sure to get veterans of the armor when you're playing as the Germans. And again, remember, the Ostwind is not a strong tank. I mean, you really shouldn't consider it a tank, more like, you know, a flak panzer. There's an anti-aircraft tank, which means it's alright against infantry, but it should not be at the forefront of the fight. It should be supporting your infantry. And sadly, Barcelona rather seems to be using more as an actual tank, which is rather what's giving him some problems. Sneaking in another force into Barcelona's base. Bastard. And the Grenadiers are running into problems. Still no upgrades for Barcelona's infantry. It's quite mind-boggling. Also moving in to deal with that Greyhound. Engineers moving in from the other side. And the Volksgrenadiers is hiding behind the Reich headquarters. Look, Hans, they won't find us here. And artillery going in on the Panzer Command. And propaganda also finally, Barcelona has made the doctrine choice, and that was definitely also one of the things I should have mentioned in the mid-game analysis, that he should have gone for that much earlier. But sadly he did not. Greyhound making a run for it, and the Greyhound is veterancy free, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It gains a damage bonus, not just the main gun, but also the 50 caliber machine gun. Also been tearing into the rifleman, and a unit went down. The Panzer Command is lost. Barcelona is in a sense lost, having lost a lot. He's got the King Tiger available, but question is, will it actually be very much useful? Question is if he shouldn't just be rebuilding either the Krieg barracks or the Panzer Command and getting some more stuff out of it. Though I would definitely recommend the Panzer Command and then getting some Panzer IVs. And I mean, it's not like he's not had the fuel to get them. That's the worst part. He has had the fuel to get Panzer IVs and get veterancy for them, by the way. Had he gotten Panzer IVs and then gotten some proper veterancy for them, they would have been able a lot harder for the Xmetal Rangers to deal with. And so far, they're really doing a lot of damage to Barcelona. And both, by the way, are veterancy 1 now. Not really good news for him either. And there you go, Rangers are charging in, going to blow up the bunker. We do see the King Tiger out in the field. Königsjäger has been sent in to support the 21st Panzer Division, but will it be enough? And artillery going in. King Tiger taking a few shots. Grenadiers getting blasted, hiding behind the Reich headquarters. And there we go, bunker is down. Bunker ist kaputt. Volksgrenadiers coming under fire. Grenadiers, Volksgrenadiers moving in down the right side again. And just note how much munitions Barcelona is floating. That's not really good. Again, he needs some sort of light machine gun or MP40. He needs something to increase the firepower of his troops. And the Rangers are just tearing into Barcelona's base. I mean, the bazookas, the submachine guns, just doing a lot of damage. Really causing Barcelona a lot of grief and pain and headaches. And he's actually sneaking in the Rangers. He's probably going to try and knock out the Reich headquarters simply using bazookas, but we do see a swift and deft use of the propaganda war quickly sends the Rangers scurrying away. And more artillery going in the meanwhile. They're probably going to try and see if we can't kill something. Pack and Ostwind firing away at the rifleman right there. Ostwind though in a terrible condition. Down at quarters getting a blast a bit as well. And Barcelona forming a Sturmgruppe. with his infantry and the Königstiger moving up the left side, while the Ostwind supported by another larger forces moving up the centre and the pack, of course. But we do see a nice little flanking operation going in with the engineers going to harass and cut away the valuable resources for Basilone. Rifle goes straight in. We do see grenades up from Xmetal. Grenade right between the Grenadiers. Oh, killing 2 right off the back. King Tiger gets 2 though. Rifleman taking all of a sudden heavy casualties. And of course the Ostwind all of a sudden forced to move over there. Grenades. 37mm anti-aircraft gun fire. Tearing down on the engineers. And actually, Xmetal is quite low on victory points at the moment. Perhaps Basilone instead could win through the victory points. Rifle moving in, coming under fire from the King Tiger again. 7 kills on that beast. Volksgrenadiers that are run off, and we see the Ostwind going down to an anti-tank and scoring veterans you won. And this right-hand side is now open for a full assault by the Rangers. Nothing's going to hold them back. Rifle trying to go in and get a sticky bomb off the King Tiger. At least give the King Tiger the impression they have sticky bombs. Always those small mind games. And there we go, sticky bomb on the Königstiger. And a damaged engine. Greyhound might finally go down though. 22 kills and 2 infantry kills. No, armor kills, I mean vehicles. Oh no, it actually makes it out of there. No! No! Damn, it actually succeeds in surviving. One bloody lucky armored car. We also do see that Xmetal quickly needs to get repaired. Pack getting attacked. King Tiger getting repaired. A new infantry force moves out. Still no upgrades. Still no MP40s. No Panzergrenadiers. No LMG. Riflemen on the warpath and quickly sending that armoured car away. King Tiger gefechtsbereit. Not what can be said about most of Basilone's base at the moment. And the pack gets cleared out. He's gone infantry, so he could easily just mine right in the front of it if he wanted to be a real bastard to Basilone. We do see Basilone quickly counter-attacking. Grenade and suppressive fire would really be devastating right here. We do see the grenade, the pineapple grenade. Forcing Basilone's Grenadiers to pull back, but getting a few riflemen as they themselves pull away in the face of this force. West side, west victory point now being held by a more determined force from Basilone. And we do see the Rangers going to move in, but the Grenadiers already shifting path. Basilone perhaps suspecting something might be said that way against them. Riflemen rather daringly going for that victory point despite being under heavy fire from the King Tiger. 13 kills down to 2 men, very little health. And finally also getting some MP40s. Die Maschinenpistolen 40. And there we go, Propaganda while causing a full infantry retreat. Absolutely devastating. Greyhound moves in though. An MP40 Volksgrenadiers opening up on the Riflemen Engineers. Full retreat from Xmetal on the right hand side of the mountain, behind only a single engineer. And now taking advantage of that to take as many victory points as possible and drain Xmetal further of the precious victory points. But artillery going in from Xmetal to prevent this scenario from happening. And medics absolutely getting gunned down in the streets.
Unit down.
And a unit actually went down from... Oh, it was a Greyhound mine perhaps up here. Knocking out and... Lol kid. Basilone getting a bit unsportsmanlike. Rangers pushing in. Going for the Grenadiers, another propaganda war. Victory points very close. Very close. Sniper now on the way for Basilone. He's simply not building anything more. He's just going to rely on the Wehrmacht quarters and whatever it is it can provide in the name of the fatherland. 21st Panzer Division apparently not seeing fit to supply with any more armor or higher vehicles. Full Grenadiers up. No, Grenadiers in fact taking heavy losses. My apologies. Though we do see he might be very close to getting a V1 which could finish off that howitzer. 17 points left for Xmetal. Very close, very close. 16-15. And managing to halt the clock once more. And immediately two riflemen are vaporized by the King Tiger. 21 kills. Greyhound moving in. Actually succeeds in hitting and penetrating the King Tiger. And then moving in after the Grenadiers. 50 caliber really just tearing through them. 37mm gun not helping either. Already there. Down to half health. Again, that's just the might of that 50 caliber and 37mm gun with veterancy free. And now it looks like the King Tiger might get overwhelmed by all the Rangers and the Riflemen. Sniper opening up in the anti-tank gun. Riflemen trying to get off a sticky bomb, but they might get wiped out in the process, which would definitely not be good news for Xmetal. Rangers though continue. Every rocket fails to penetrate though. Fighting is definitely intensifying, and we're seeing another off-map comic group running with a tank destroyer, numerous riflemen, and a mortar. Perhaps we might want to move in those Rangers to support, get them up here, firing to the side and rear of the King Tiger. Two snipers out from Basilone. Two snipers. Flamethrower Rangers moving out, and they're likely going to get mowed down. Meanwhile, Grenadier squad though getting torn up by Xmetal's armor car tank destroyer. Rangers finally retreating. And a few additional Grenadiers arriving. A bit on their own as troops are being sent in to support the King Tiger and repair. 28 kills by the way. Doing nicely there, doing nicely. And Basilone seemingly intent. No, he's going in. He might have gotten the V1. Battery under small arms fire. Going to be a lot bigger than that though very soon. And there we go. We can hear the heavy droning, signifying that the wrath of the fatherland can soon fall upon this area. And there we go. Wiping out the howitzer, almost knocking out the barracks at the same time. A bit of a nasty loss right there for Xmetal, going to deny him a valuable support asset. Rangers getting shot up here, taking heavy loss at the same time though. The west has now become very vulnerable as Basilone has pulled in everything to support the King Tiger. He's losing control over the rest of the map and the victory points in the process. Still no supply upgrades though for Xmetal. I would definitely point out that as a problem. Tank destroyer needs to be a bit careful. We're trying to do some damage here to the Grenadiers. And there we go though. Third victory point. A quick propaganda war from Basilone sends them running away. Tank destroyer and Greyhound shifting out to the west. Full Grenadiers a bit on their own, and immediately coming under fire. Already the Feld of Evil gets blasted, then the Corporal, and now three of them are all running away. And meanwhile pushing up the centre, full infantry force, at least what remains of Basilone's infantry force. Intent on taking the area, but might not succeed, in particular since they could be calling in another off-map combat artillery to halt that. Greyhound swiftly on the move, supported by the tank destroyer, also moving over towards the other victory point. King Tiger advancing. And then we go and the Grenadiers are pushed away. Not a single loss though.
The enemy is down to 300 points. Need something?
Bit of quiet. 3 snipers from Basilone. Getting very desperate, and I feel somehow a bit lazy if he's just getting snipers. And another push straight into Basilone's base with the Rangers, knocking out the Wehrmacht quarters, tearing through any infantry that is close to the base as well, going to cause a lot of harm to them. And we could, getting into the Reich headquarters, they could get grenaded. And there you go, Pioneer Squad down, bazookas impacting upon the Reich headquarters. And then we go, the grenade actually gets the Grenadiers inside, at the same time going up for the victory point here. Tanks are rolling forwards. A desperate fight to hold the victory point somewhat stable for Xmetal. And more infantry getting retreated back. Of course, he's moving in the sniper at a lot slower pace, but we will see another Grenadier squad at the very least getting wiped out right there. Absolutely nice situational change right there by Xmetal, seizing upon the base instead, putting a lot of pressure there, perhaps running out some mitral units right there for Basilone. Reich headquarters go down with the last Grenadier remaining inside. Another Volkswagen squad going to retreat right past all of this. And the bunker could go down as well. And there we go, Volkswagen squad wiped out. Now it's the bunker's turn, and there we go, snipers tearing through, but it might be too late. Oh, no mind. Though we could call in some artillery right there. Instead, the Rangers end up, of course, taking a very hasty retreat, losing several men in the retreat. But an off-map support group coming in from Basilone with a few pioneers, a Volkswagen squad, and an officer. The lieutenant is here. But now Basilone practically has nothing left. And this sniper simply won't help Basilone push forwards. And if only he'd call in some off-map artillery right there, that would definitely have been it. Game over, GG.
Krauts are grabbing artillery.
And the officer, supported by Volksgrenadiers. Also note, the officer actually takes points faster than the Volksgrenadiers. A quick propaganda war there from the lieutenant. And artillery going in on the point. Will Basilone be paying attention? Will it be elsewhere occupied? Oh! Volkswagen squad got wiped out! And the lieutenant might get it as well. Just noob spam. Again, a bit poor sportsmanship right there from Basilone. But interesting fight. Some nice solid play from Basilone, but again, some problems basically just kept piling themselves up as he, did not attend to it. Partly, it was the lack of a doctrine that really would have helped, fully synergize all the infantry he had. Had he gone for something, he probably would have been standing much better later into the game. But also, again, he didn't get them weapons until, again, very late. No Panzergrenadiers, no MP40s, no LMGs. All of those things would definitely also have benefited him. I'm not saying he should have decked out every squad with it, but at least a few squads would have done a lot more to help him. And the lack of veterancy for support units and his armor and the Ostwinds over the Panzer Force, rather those things didn't really exactly help him. And rather allowed Xmetal to really do some damage, push in. And of course he kept running him out, hitting different targets. And again, Basilone rather helped him, and particularly that with the mid-game, by splitting up his forces into 2 groups and then having one pack to cover all of that, meaning the Greyhound just had to keep moving back and forth and just hitting targets here and there. And again, Xmetal's ability to just, stop trying to strike the hardest point and going for the weakest point, rather paid off, when he went in here and finished off the base and caused a lot of casualties for Basilone. So nicely played there by Xmetal. Also, alright play there by Basilone, but then again, some problems which ultimately held him back and allowed Xmetal to much more solidly gain the upper hand. So, there you go. A bit of the inordinary, not winning, through the usual tank destroyer spam. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? Provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.